The divorce papers were sitting between them when Claire finally said the words that would change both their lives. "I love him, Ethan." Ethan stared at her across the dining table. For a few seconds, he didn't move. Outside the penthouse windows, Manhattan glittered beneath a cold November rain. Inside, the silence was heavier than thunder. "Say that again," Ethan whispered. Claire lowered her eyes. "I said I love Daniel." Ethan slowly leaned back. Daniel, her company's new strategy director, the man who had arrived 6 months earlier and somehow become the center of Claire's world. "The man you've been telling me is just a friend?" Claire swallowed. "Yes." "So you were lying." "I wasn't trying to hurt you." Ethan gave a quiet, almost painful laugh. "That's what people say right before they explain why they hurt you." Claire looked at him. "You don't understand." "Then make me understand." "I've spent years feeling like something is missing." "You think I don't know that?" "I tried, Ethan." "Did you?" She looked away. Ethan's voice remained calm. That frightened her more than anger would have. "You stopped talking to me months ago," he continued. "You stopped coming home early. You stopped asking how my day was. Every time I tried to reach you, you were busy. I was confused." "No, you were already leaving." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I never wanted it to happen like this." "But it did." She pushed the divorce papers toward him. "Please sign." Ethan looked at the documents, then at her wedding ring, then at the woman he had spent 7 years protecting from storms she never knew existed. "You really believe Daniel is the man you've been waiting for?" Claire hesitated. "Yes." Ethan nodded. "Then I won't stand in your way." Claire looked surprised. "You're not going to fight?" "No." "Why?" "Because love isn't something you win by refusing to let someone leave." She stared at him. "You're making this too easy." "No, Claire." Ethan picked up the pen. "You're just discovering how tired I am." He signed. Claire's hand trembled. "You're not going to ask me to stay?" Ethan placed the pen down. "If I have to ask someone to stay, they've already left." Claire's tears finally fell. "I am sorry." "I know." He stood. "And Claire?" She looked up. "Yes." "Don't confuse being wanted with being loved." Her expression tightened. "What does that mean?" "It means you'll understand one day." She didn't know then how prophetic those words would become. 3 days later, Claire moved into Daniel's luxury apartment. The news spread quickly through their social circle. Claire and Daniel were together. Ethan had supposedly been abandoned. Friends called him. Family members offered sympathy. His mother asked him to come home. Ethan refused. He disappeared instead. But there was something Claire didn't know. The quiet husband she had considered ordinary had never been ordinary. For 7 years, Ethan had deliberately hidden the truth about his identity. He wasn't unemployed. He wasn't merely a consultant. He wasn't struggling financially. He was the anonymous founder behind Aurelius Holdings, one of America's most powerful private investment companies. Claire's own company, Sterling Dynamics, had survived several financial crises because an anonymous investor had repeatedly rescued it. That investor was Ethan, but he had never told her. Why? Because years earlier, before they married, Claire had told him something he never forgot. "I don't want to marry someone's money," she'd said. "I want someone who sees me." So Ethan had built a life where she could love him without knowing what he owned. And now she had left him. Ethan stood alone in his empty penthouse. His assistant, Marcus, entered quietly. "Sir," Ethan didn't turn. "Did you finalize the acquisition?" "Yes." "Which company?" Marcus hesitated. "Sterling Dynamics." Ethan finally looked at him. "Claire's company?" "Yes." Marcus lowered his voice. "She'll lose control of the company within 72 hours if the board discovers the debt position." Ethan closed his eyes. "Can we prevent it?" "Yes." "Then do nothing." Marcus stared. "Nothing? Not yet." "But, sir, you could save her." Ethan looked through the window at the city. "I've spent 7 years saving her." He paused. "Maybe she needs to learn what happens when I'm not there." Marcus nodded. Then his phone rang. He answered. His face changed. "Sir." "What?" "The board meeting was moved forward." "When?" Tomorrow morning. Ethan's expression hardened. Who requested it? Marcus looked at the screen. Daniel. Ethan slowly turned toward him. For the first time that night, there was something colder than sadness in his eyes. Then tomorrow, he said quietly, we find out exactly what Daniel's been planning. The next morning, Claire entered Sterling Dynamics believing she was finally in control of her life. Daniel was beside her. He smiled confidently. Relax, he said. The board is going to approve everything. Claire looked at him. You're sure? Absolutely. What about the debt? I've handled it. Claire smiled. You always make everything sound easy. Daniel touched her shoulder. Because I'm not afraid of difficult things. Claire didn't notice the small smile that crossed his face. Inside the boardroom, 12 executives waited. Claire took her seat. Daniel sat beside her. The chairman cleared his throat. Claire, before we begin, there is an issue regarding the company's emergency financing. Claire frowned. What issue? The chairman pushed a folder across the table. Our largest private creditor has demanded immediate repayment. Claire opened it. Her face went pale. This can't be right. It is. Daniel leaned toward her. Don't panic. Claire looked at him. You said this was handled. It was. Then why are we discussing it? Daniel didn't answer immediately. The chairman spoke. Because the creditor has also requested a change in controlling ownership. Claire's heart began racing. Who is the creditor? Silence. Then the conference room doors opened. Everyone turned. A tall man in a charcoal suit walked inside. Ethan. Claire froze. What are you doing here? Ethan didn't answer her. He walked toward the head of the table. The chairman stood. Mr. Carter. Claire stared. Mr. Carter? Daniel's expression changed. Ethan placed a folder on the table. I believe we have business to discuss. Claire looked from Ethan to the chairman. Why are they calling you Mr. Carter? Ethan finally looked at her. Because that's my name. Daniel stood. You have no right to be here. Ethan turned toward him. I have every right. Who exactly are you? The room became silent. Ethan's voice remained calm. I am the controlling shareholder of Sterling Dynamics. Claire's face drained of color. No, the chairman corrected her. Not just Sterling Dynamics. He swallowed. Aurelius Holdings owns a controlling stake. Claire stared at Ethan. Aurelius. Ethan said nothing. Daniel suddenly looked nervous. Claire remembered every business article she had ever read. Aurelius Holdings, the mysterious investment company whose founder had never appeared publicly. The billionaire nobody had ever photographed. The investor who had saved Sterling Dynamics 3 times. Her voice barely came out. It was you. Ethan looked at her. Yes. You were behind investments? Yes. You saved my company? Yes. Claire stepped backward. Why didn't you tell me? Ethan's expression didn't change. You told me you wanted to be loved for yourself. I did. So I gave you that. Daniel interrupted. This is manipulation. Ethan looked at him. No. What is it then? Consequences. Daniel's jaw tightened. You think money makes you powerful? No. Ethan leaned forward. Information does. Daniel's face went pale. Claire noticed. What does that mean? Ethan opened another folder. I'll let you explain it. Daniel stared at the documents. Where did you get those? Claire looked confused. Daniel? He said nothing. Ethan slid the folder toward Claire. Inside were financial transfers, payments, offshore accounts, internal messages. Claire's hand shook. Daniel, he stepped forward. Claire, listen to me. Is this your signature? I can explain. Were you moving company money? No. Ethan interrupted. Not just company money. Daniel glared at him. You've been investigating me. For 6 months. Claire looked at Ethan. 6 months? Ethan nodded. Daniel wasn't interested in you because he loved you. Daniel shouted. Don't listen to him. Ethan's voice remained quiet. He needed access to Sterling Dynamics. Claire looked at Daniel. Is that true? Daniel's silence answered her. Claire stepped away from him. You used me. I cared about you. You lied to me. I needed you to trust me. That isn't love. Daniel looked furious. You think Ethan loved you? Claire turned. Ethan said nothing. Daniel laughed bitterly. He hid his entire identity from you. Ethan looked at him. Because she asked me to. Claire's eyes filled with tears. Daniel pointed at Ethan. He made you feel like you were special because he pretended to be ordinary. Ethan's expression hardened. No, he looked at Claire. I made myself ordinary because I wanted you to know whether you could love me without the money. Claire whispered, and I failed. Ethan didn't answer. The board voted. Daniel was removed from the company pending investigation. Claire retained her position, but only temporarily. As everyone left, she remained seated. Ethan walked toward the door. Ethan! He stopped. I made the wrong choice. He didn't turn around. Yes. Can you forgive me? A long silence followed. Then he said, Forgiveness isn't the same as returning. Claire's tears fell. Are you really done with me? Ethan looked back. I don't know. Then he walked away. Claire watched him disappear through the doors. She thought the worst part was losing him. She was wrong. That night, she discovered an old photograph in a drawer. It was from the year before she met Ethan. She turned it over. On the back was a handwritten sentence. If she ever finds out who I am, make sure she knows why I hid it. Claire recognized the handwriting. Ethan's, but there was something else. A date, 7 years earlier. And beneath it was a name Claire had never seen before. Rebecca Carter, Ethan's mother. Claire's heart stopped because she remembered that name. She had met Rebecca once, years ago, before her wedding. And Rebecca had told her something she had completely forgotten. You've already met my son. Claire stared at the photograph. What have I done? 3 weeks passed. Ethan never called. Claire didn't call him either. Not because she didn't want to. Because she was afraid. Afraid that if she heard his voice, she would finally understand how much she had destroyed. Sterling Dynamics survived the scandal. Daniel didn't. Investigators uncovered a network of financial fraud that had been hidden behind several shell companies. Claire testified. She told the truth. Everything. But the damage to her reputation remained. One evening, she received a message from Ethan. Meet me at the old restaurant. 8 p.m. Claire stared at the screen. For the first time in weeks, she felt hope. She arrived early. Ethan entered at exactly 8. He looked different. Not richer. Not more powerful. Just calmer. Claire stood. Thank you for coming. I said I would. She sat. Can I ask you something? Yes. Why did you marry me? Ethan looked at her. Because I loved you. Claire's eyes filled. Do you still? He remained silent. That silence hurts more than a no. I don't know what I feel anymore. Claire nodded. I deserve that. Ethan studied her. Why did you choose Daniel? Claire looked down. Because he made me feel seen. Ethan's expression tightened. And I didn't? You did. Then, I thought your love had become routine. He looked away. Claire continued. I was chasing something I thought I'd lost. What? Excitement, purpose, a future. Ethan nodded. And did you find it? Claire's eyes filled with tears. No. Why? Because I finally realized something. What? I wasn't looking for another man. Ethan looked at her. I was looking for the version of myself I had lost. Silence. That doesn't excuse what I did, Claire said. No, I know. Ethan reached into his coat. He placed an envelope on the table. Claire looked at it. What is that? Your freedom. She opened it. Inside were documents transferring her remaining shares back to her. Claire stared. You're giving me the company? I'm returning what belongs to you. Why? Because revenge isn't what I want. She looked at him. Then what do you want? I want my life back. Claire nodded slowly. You deserve that. Ethan stood. Claire suddenly asked, was there ever someone else? He stopped. What? Before me? Ethan looked at her. There was someone I was supposed to marry. Claire's heart sank. Who? Her name was Rebecca. Claire froze. Rebecca Carter? Ethan nodded. My mother. Claire looked confused. What? Ethan sat again. My mother was dying when I met you. Claire's face changed. She wanted me to build a life without being defined by money. He looked down. She told me that wealth can attract people who love what you have, not who you are. Claire whispered, so that's why you had everything. Yes. And Rebecca knew about me? She chose you. Claire's eyes filled. She told me you were different. Ethan smiled sadly. She was wrong. Claire shook her head. No. Ethan looked at her. She was right. A tear rolled down Claire's cheek. I hurt you. Yes. I betrayed you. Yes. I don't expect you to come back. Good. Claire nodded. I just want you to know something. What? I never stopped loving you. Ethan closed his eyes. Don't say that. Why? Because I spent months teaching myself how to live without hearing it. Claire went silent. Ethan stood. Then his phone rang. He answered. What happened? Marcus's voice came through. Ethan's expression changed. Are you sure? Claire watched him. What is it? Ethan ended the call. There's been an accident. Who? My mother. Claire stood. Is she okay? Ethan didn't answer. His silence told her everything. The next morning, Ethan sat alone outside the hospital room. Claire arrived. He looked up. You shouldn't be here. I know. Why did you come? Because you shouldn't have to sit here alone. Ethan looked away. For several minutes, neither spoke. Then a doctor walked out. Mr. Carter? Ethan stood. Yes. Your mother is awake. Ethan's breath caught. Can I see her? Yes. Claire remained outside. Minutes later, Ethan returned. His face was pale. What happened? Claire asked. Ethan looked at her. She asked for you. Claire froze. Me? Yes. Why? Ethan handed her a small envelope. She told me to give you this. Claire opened it. Inside was a letter. Only one sentence was written. The person you left was not the person you thought he was, but he was still the person you had been waiting for. Claire stared at the words. Then she saw something else. A second page. Her hands trembled as she unfolded it. At the bottom was another name. Not Ethan. Not Daniel. Someone else. Someone connected to Claire's own family. She looked at Ethan. Who was Michael? Ethan's expression changed. Where did you hear that name? It was in the letter. Ethan took the page. His eyes widened. Then he whispered, That's impossible. Why? Because Michael died 25 years ago. Claire stared at him. Then why does my mother's signature appear beside his? Ethan slowly looked up, and suddenly the entire story changed. The truth began with a photograph. Claire's mother had kept it hidden for decades. Claire found it in an old family safe. She placed it on Ethan's desk. That's my father. Ethan studied the photograph. Michael? Claire nodded. My mother told me he died before I was born. Ethan turned the photograph over. There was a company seal. Aurelius Holdings. Claire stared. What? Ethan looked at her. Your father helped create Aurelius. Claire shook her head. That doesn't make sense. It does. How? Because Aurelius wasn't originally an investment company. He opened an old archive. It started as a small technology firm. Claire looked at the documents. 2 founders. Michael Bennett, Robert Carter, Ethan's father. Claire's eyes widened. Our fathers knew each other. They were business partners. What happened? Ethan continued reading. They had a falling out. Why? Money. Claire stared at the screen. No. Ethan opened another file. Your father didn't steal from my father. Then, my father did. Claire looked at him. What? Robert Carter secretly transferred ownership of the company. Claire covered her mouth. Why? Because he believed Michael was going to destroy the company. But he didn't. No. Ethan looked at her. He was trying to save it. Claire sat down. So our families were connected long before we met. She looked at him. Did you know? Not at first. When did you find out? 2 years into our marriage. Claire stared. And you never told me? I was afraid. Of what? That you'd think I married you because of our families. Claire's voice softened. You really thought I believed that? I didn't know what you believe. She looked away. The pieces were falling into place. Her mother had always hated the Carter family. She had never understood why. Now she knew it wasn't hatred. It was guilt. Claire's mother had signed the original transfer documents. But there was one detail that made no sense. Why did my mother help your father? Ethan looked at the final page. Because she was protecting someone. Who? Ethan's eyes stopped. Michael. Claire's breath caught. Your father didn't die naturally. Silence. What are you saying? He disappeared. Claire shook her head. My mother said. Your mother lied. Claire stood. Why? Because someone threatened her. Who? Ethan closed the file. Daniel's father. Claire froze. Daniel's father? Yes. The revelation hit harder than anything before it. His father knew our families. He knew the entire history. Then Daniel didn't choose me randomly. No. Claire's face went pale. He knew who I was. Yes. He knew about Ethan. Yes. He knew about Aurelius. Yes. Claire whispered. So the entire relationship was built on information. She closed her eyes. I thought he loved me. He may have believed he did. That doesn't make it better. No. Claire sat down. For the first time, she understood something painful. Daniel had manipulated her, but she had also allowed herself to believe what she wanted to believe. She had wanted excitement. She had wanted escape. She had mistaken attention for connection. Ethan sat across from her. You can't change what happened. I know, but you can decide what happens next. Claire looked at him. What would you do? Tell the truth. To everyone? Yes. Even if it destroys my family? Secrets already destroyed your family. Claire nodded. The next morning, she called a press conference. Reporters filled the room. Claire stepped toward the microphones. I owe the public an explanation. Cameras flashed. She continued. I betrayed my husband. The room went silent. I left him believing another man understood me better. She swallowed. I was wrong. Across town, Ethan watched the broadcast. Marcus stood beside him. Sir, you don't have to watch this. I know. Claire continued. I also discovered that the people who manipulated my family history were connected to financial crimes committed against Sterling Dynamics. Reporters began shouting questions. Claire raised her hand. I won't blame anyone for my choices. She looked directly into the cameras. I made them. Ethan quietly turned off the television. Marcus looked at him. Are you proud of her? Ethan thought for a moment. Yes. Do you want her back? Ethan didn't answer. That afternoon, Claire received a message. Come to Aurelius Tower. Alone. She went. Ethan was waiting at the top floor. I saw your statement, he said. I meant every word. I know. Claire took a breath. I don't want your money. I know. I don't want your company. I know. Then what do you want? Ethan looked at her. The truth. She nodded. I'll give it to you. He stepped closer. But before he could say anything else, the elevator doors opened. Marcus rushed out. Ethan! What happened? Marcus handed him a document. We found the final account. Ethan read it. His face changed. Claire whispered, What is it? Ethan looked at her. The person who financed Daniel. He turned the paper around. Claire saw the name. Her mother. Claire stepped backward. My mother? Ethan nodded. And suddenly Claire realized the person who had spent years warning her about the Carter family had been the one hiding the truth all along. Claire confronted her mother that night. You knew. Her mother sat silently. You knew everything. I was trying to protect you. From what? From the Carters. Claire laughed bitterly. You destroyed my life trying to protect me from them. I didn't destroy your life. You financed Daniel. Her mother looked away. I thought he would expose Ethan. Why? Because I believed Ethan married you to control our family. Claire stared. You were wrong. I didn't know. No. Claire's voice became calm. You didn't want to know. Her mother began crying. I was afraid. So was I. Claire stood. But I finally learned something. What? Fear doesn't give us permission to hurt people. Her mother said nothing. Claire walked away. The next morning, the board of Sterling Dynamics gathered for an emergency meeting. Daniel was there under legal supervision. He looked exhausted. Claire entered. Ethan followed. Everyone became silent. The chairman stood. Claire. She nodded. I have a proposal. Daniel laughed. You're still trying to save the company? Claire looked at him. No. She placed a document on the table. I'm changing it. Daniel frowned. What does that mean? I am stepping down as CEO. Everyone reacted. Claire continued. I spent years believing success meant controlling everything around me. She looked toward Ethan. I was wrong. Ethan said nothing. I want Sterling Dynamics to become employee-owned over the next 5 years. The chairman stared. That would be unprecedented. Then let it be. Daniel shook his head. You're giving away everything. Claire looked at him. No. She smiled sadly. I'm finally giving people something I once refused to give. What? Trust. The board voted. The proposal passed. Daniel's remaining legal case continued. Claire walked out of the building. Ethan followed. She stopped outside. Why did you come? To say goodbye. Claire looked at him. Goodbye? Yes. Her eyes filled. Is that what you want? I don't know. Ethan took a breath. For months, I thought revenge would make me feel better. And it didn't. What did? Watching you finally become honest. Claire smiled through tears. I should have been honest from the beginning. Yes. I should have trusted you. Yes. I should have stayed. Ethan looked at her. Maybe. Claire's eyes widened. Maybe leaving was necessary. Why? Because if you had stayed without understanding why you were staying, we'd eventually end up in the same place. She lowered her eyes. So what happens now? I don't know. Claire nodded. That scares me. It should. She laughed softly. For the first time in years, the tension between them felt different. Not gone, not healed, but honest. Then Ethan reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small box. Claire stared. What is that? He opened it. Inside was her old wedding ring, the one she had removed the night she chose Daniel. I thought you lost it. I kept it. Why? Because I didn't want our marriage to become a lie just because it ended. Claire looked at the ring. Are you asking me to come back? No. She looked surprised. Ethan closed the box. I don't want the woman who left me. Claire's eyes filled. Then who do you want? The woman who finally understands why she left. Claire looked at him. And if she's changed, then I'll have to decide whether I can change too. They stood quietly. Neither rushed. Neither promised forever. Because this time, neither wanted a promise built on fear. Then Ethan's phone rang. He answered. Hello? Marcus's voice came through. Sir, Rebecca wants to speak with Claire. Ethan looked at Claire. She wants to talk to you. Claire nodded. They returned to the hospital. Rebecca was sitting by the window. She smiled when Claire entered. You came. Yes. Rebecca gestured toward the chair. Sit. Claire sat. Rebecca looked at her for a long moment. Do you know why Ethan loved you? Claire shook her head. No. Because you once told him you didn't want his money. Claire smiled sadly. I meant it. I know. Rebecca took her hand. But Ethan made one mistake. What? He thought hiding the truth would protect your love. Claire looked at Ethan. It didn't. No. Rebecca smiled. But losing each other taught you something neither of you could learn while everything was comfortable. Claire looked at Ethan. What? Rebecca answered. Love isn't proven by how desperately someone holds on to you. She looked at Ethan. It's proven by whether they respect you enough to let you choose. Ethan's eyes lowered. Rebecca continued. And sometimes the person you're waiting for is already standing beside you. Claire began crying, not because she suddenly got her husband back, but because she finally understood the title of the story she had unknowingly been living. She had spent years searching for someone who made her feel alive. She had searched through wealth, success, attention, and excitement, but the person she had been waiting for had never disappeared. He had simply stopped chasing her. Months later, Claire and Ethan were not immediately remarried. They started again, slowly, honestly. No secrets, no tests, no hidden bank accounts, no pretending. They had dinner together. They argued. They laughed. They learned each other again. And one evening, Ethan asked, "Do you regret leaving?" Claire looked at him. "Yes." He waited. "But I regret more that I didn't understand what I had before I lost it." Ethan smiled. "And now," Claire reached across the table, "now I don't want to be rescued." "What do you want?" She looked directly into his eyes. "To choose you." Ethan took her hand. "Then choose me tomorrow, too." She smiled. "And the day after? If we're lucky." Claire laughed. Outside, the city lights reflected against the glass. The same city, the same two people, but completely different lives. And perhaps that was the real twist. Claire hadn't lost Ethan because she chose another man. She lost him because she believed love was something exciting waiting somewhere else. Only after everything collapsed did she discover the truth. Sometimes the person you've been waiting for isn't the person who arrives. It's the person who stayed until you finally became capable of seeing him. And Ethan learned something too. Love isn't about proving your worth. It isn't about revenge. It isn't about making someone regret leaving. Sometimes the strongest comeback is simply becoming whole again, because when you stop begging someone to recognize your value, you finally give yourself the freedom to walk away. And if they ever return, they don't return because they've finally discovered your money. They return because they finally discovered you.